Supposedly about 10 million of us today marching.
Around the world, millions of people don't want this war.
We have never gotten...
Hey y'all, welcome to Truth Blitz, episode 8, where we sling truth hotter than a jalapeno popper straight out of the fryer. I'm Park Major, your host, broadcasting from the red dirt heart of Dixie, ready to slice through the hogwash and serve it up raw. Tonight, we're wading knee-deep into the swamp of Donald J. Trump. Since this clown strolled back into the White House on January 20th, 2025, he's been breaking laws faster than a bootlegger dodging the sheriff. We're going to tally every statute he's stomped on, from the Constitution to the fine print, and I ain't holding back. So grab your sweet tea, buckle up, and let's ride. This one's going to be bumpier than a dirt road after a gully washer. We're taking a quick pit stop, but don't you go straying. I'm coming right back to keep ripping into Donald's law-breaking mess. Stay tuned for more Truth Blitz fire after this message from our fine southern sponsor. Support them like you support the truth.
Today is the beginning of the end and the start of a new beginning. Time has come to refine yourself and let go of the demons in your head that have held you in captivity for so long.
All right, we're back, folks. It's Park Major here, and we're diving into Donald's constitutional crime spree like a hound on a coon trail. This man's treating the Constitution like it's a bar napkin. Scribble on it, spill on it, chuck it in the dumpster. On day 1, January 20th, 2025, Donald signed an executive order trying to kill birthright citizenship. Now, I ain't no Harvard lawyer, but the 14th Amendment's clearer than a June bug in a mason jar. All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens. Donald's saying kids of immigrants don't count. That's not just dumb. It's a constitutional felony, plain as day. Federal Judge Leo Sorokin in Boston shut it down on February 13th, calling it blatantly unconstitutional. That's one law busted, and we're just cranking the engine. Then there's Donald's money-grubbing stunt. He froze $1 trillion in federal grants and loans. Think schools, hospitals, the works. Like he's playing poker with our tax dollars. That's snakier than a rattler in a woodpile. The Constitution hands Congress the purse strings. And the Impoundment Control Act of 1974 says a president can't just hogtie funds without Congress's nod. Legal eagle Julian Zelizer says Donald's tossing the Impoundment Act in the shredder. 2 federal judges, Lauren Alicon and John McConnell, slammed the brakes on this mess, noting Donald didn't even bother telling Congress. That's 2 laws down, Articles 1 of the Constitution and the Impoundment Act. But Donald ain't done. He's firing inspectors general, 17 fraud-busting watchdogs like they're extras in his reality TV rerun. Federal law demands 30 days notice to Congress and a reason for the boot. Donald gave neither, just a big old, "You're fired." That's a violation of the Inspector General Act, making it 3 laws he's torched. And don't get me started on his agency ambush. He tried to dissolve USAID, our international aid outfit, without Congress's say-so. That's a direct hit on the Foreign Affairs Reform and Restructuring Act of 1998, which says USAID's independent and ain't Donald's personal piñata. Law professor Nick Bednar's yelling, Dinald's got zero authority here. That's 4 laws broken. Y'all, this ain't governing. It's a constitutional hog-calling contest, and Donald's the pig. He's acting like a dictator in a cheap suit, racking up 4 major violations in weeks. The 14th Amendment, Impoundment Act, Inspector General Act, and Foreign Affairs Act. And we ain't even touched his data-stealing shenanigans yet. Hold tight, 'cause I'm just warming up. We're taking a quick breather, but I'll be back to rip into Donald's data privacy disasters and his pal Elon's role in this law-breaking rodeo. Don't you dare change that channel.
It's time to flip the page and prove them wrong. It's time for rebirth. Yeah, time's up to say goodbye to all the haters, doubters, and non-believers trying to bring you down. In the blink of an eye, you'll realize that there's so much more to the book than the page you were stuck on.
Park Major's back, y'all, on Truth Blitz, where we're counting the laws Donald Trump's busted since January 20th, 2025, like fire ants at a picnic. We're at 4 laws, constitutional crimes, and agency overreach. Now let's talk about how Donald and his buddy Elon Musk-Rat Musk are turning the government into a data-stealing honky-tonk. Dinald handed Musk-Rat's so-called Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, because they're playing meme games with our democracy, access to the Treasury Department's payment system. This ain't just numbers. It's got your tax refunds, Social Security info, and personal data locked up tighter than Fort Knox. Or it was, till Dinald gave Musk-Rat the keys. Legal folks are screaming this violates the Privacy Act of 1974, which says you can't share folks' info without their okay. Alan Butler from the Electronic Privacy Information Center calls it a flat-out crime. Federal unions sued, saying Dinald and Musk-Rat are passing out your data like free biscuits at a church supper. That's law number 5. It gets worse. This data grab also spits in the face of the Federal Information Security Modernization Act, FISMA, which sets hard rules for protecting government systems. DOGE's crew ain't got the clearances or know-how to handle this info, but Dinald let him in like roaches at a buffet. That's law number 6. Then there's the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act, CFAA, which makes unauthorized network access a crime. Butler says CFAA violations could bring serious heat, maybe even a special prosecutor. That's 7 laws Dinald's kicked to the curb. And don't sleep on Internal Revenue Code Section 6103, which guards tax return info like a mama bear with her cubs. Treasury's system handles tax refunds, meaning Musk-Rat's team could snoop on your financials. Unions got a judge to slap read-only limits on DOGE on February 6th, but that's like bolting the barn after the mule's gone. That's law number 8. Let's call it what it is. Dinald's dumber than a bag of hammers and twice as dangerous. Given Musk-Rat, this access ain't about efficiency. It's cronyism greasier than a skillet of fried chicken. These violations, Privacy Act, FISMA, CFAA, and Section 6103, prove Dinald don't give a hoot about your privacy or the law. That's 4 more laws busted, making 8 total. And we got more. His federal worker purge is just as crooked. We're taking a quick break, but we'll be back to shred Dinald's war on federal workers and the laws he's burning to gut the government. Stay put, y'all.
Finally, you will be free to live a life you love living instead of the life you think other people want you to live. Remember, you're the highest authority when it comes to knowing what you want and what you love. So stop trading yourself for the approval from others.
Alrighty, we're back on Truth Blitz, y'all, and we're tearing into Donald Trump's law-breaking spree since January 20th, 2025. We're at 8 laws, constitutional felonies to data privacy disasters. Now let's talk about Dinald's war on federal workers, nurses, TSA folks, Social Security clerks, who keep this country humming. He's trying to purge them like a bad batch of okra, and it's as illegal as a still in a dry county. First, the deferred resignation con. On January 28th, Dinald's cronies emailed 20,000 federal workers, telling them to quit by February 6 or get canned with pay promised through September. Sounds sweet, right? Wrong. This violates the Administrative Leave Act of 2016, which says you can't put folks on paid leave without Congress's approval. Congress didn't sign off, and no funds were budgeted. A judge hit pause, but Dinald's still pushing like a bull in a china shop. That's law number 9. Then there's the mass firing of probationary workers, thousands of them without cause. Dinald also dusted off Schedule F, a shady plan to make career civil servants easier to fire. Labor unions say this breaks the Administrative Procedure Act, APA, which demands agencies justify rules with public comment and reason. Dinald skipped that, acting like he's king of the hill. That's law number 10. And let's talk the Anti-Deficiency Act, which says you can't spend money Congress didn't approve. Dinald's buyouts and firings are burning cash that ain't there, leaving agencies like the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau gutted. A union sued, saying staff can't do their jobs because of Dinald's cuts. That's law number 11. This ain't just bad bossing. It's a deliberate gut punch to the folks serving us. Dinald wants loyalist lapdogs, not nonpartisan pros. And he's breaking the Administrative Leave Act, APA, and Anti-Deficiency Act to do it. That's 3 more laws, making 11. We got 1 more round to cover his regulatory rampage and the final count. We're hitting a quick pause, but we'll be back to wrap up Dinald's Law-Breakin bonanza and give you all the total. Don't move a muscle.
Ladies and gentlemen, weirdos and geeks, please repeat after me. I don't give a fuck.
Welcome back. We're closing out Truth Blitz Episode 8, y'all. Counting the laws Donald Trump's broken since January 20th, 2025. We're at 11 constitutional crimes, data theft, worker purges. Now let's tackle his regulatory rampage and settle the score. Donald's 10-to-1 deregulation order signed January 31st demands agencies cut 10 rules for every new one. Sounds slick, but it's a legal dumpster fire. The Administrative Procedure Act, APA, says agencies got to give public notice and comment before slashing rules. Donald's order skips that, pushing agencies to gut protections for air, water, and workers without a lick of sense. Legal folks say this arbitrary move violates the APA. That's law number 12. Then there's his environmental gutting, like letting companies mine the deep sea without UN oversight. This breaks the National Environmental Policy Act, NEPA, which demands environmental impact studies. Donald's ignoring it, risking our oceans for a quick buck. That's law number 13. And don't miss his firing of National Labor Relations Board and Equal Employment Opportunity Commission members who had Senate-confirmed terms. Federal law says they can't be fired without cause, but Dinald did it anyway, violating their enabling statutes. That's law number 14. So here's the tally, folks. 14 laws broken in under 4 months. The 14th Amendment, Impoundment Control Act, Inspector General Act, Foreign Affairs Reform Act, Privacy Act, FSMA, CFAA, Internal Revenue Code, Section 6103 Administrative Leave Act, Anti-Deficiency Act, APA twice, NEPA, and agency tenure laws. And that's just the start. 328 lawsuits are pending, with 128 court orders stopping Donald's nonsense. This ain't leadership. It's lawlessness dirtier than a pig pen. Donald's running the White House like a rigged slot machine, with Musk-Rat spinning the reels. He's banking on his Supreme Court buddies to bail him out, but the courts are fighting back. As of May 1st, 142 cases are open, and legal scholar Erwin Chemerinsky is calling it a constitutional crisis. Y'all, Dinald's legacy is a rap sheet, longer than a Mississippi catfish. He's broken at least 14 laws, and we're all paying. Veterans losing services, workers losing jobs, democracy losing ground. So keep your eyes open and your voice loud. Park Major will be back next week, blazing the truth hotter than ever. Till then, stay fierce, stay strong, and God bless y'all.
Now start cleaning your time and your mental well-being by saying no more. No more. Say it loudly and proudly.